have Mark joining us with Elevance. Mark, thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience there with everything. You're following up a good friend, Todd. So no and no pressure here, Mark. You're the closer today, man. So you're coming in the closer role for our event today, which means no rules, man. Take as long as you need here. The stage is yours, but Mark from Elevance, thank you for joining us, man. I'll stop sharing right now so you can take over. And then Mark, we're going to use we use a Q&A chat. So same thing, yep. Chat, keep it out just to questions in there. And then you can kind of do your flow and then we can get to the questions at the end or however you want to do it.
Well, I mean, do I have access to well, I think I have access to it. So yeah, you know, nice to meet everybody. This is, my name is Mark Capagrossi. I'm with Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I work as a national broker sales representative for you guys. So basically, you know, we act as that one point of contact, you know, for healthcare solutions. And so if it comes to me, usually I try to, it's a really bad problem, and just let you know that I take those very seriously, and we usually try to knock those out. So overall, man, I really appreciate everybody having the opportunity to talk to everybody. I don't know if I'll need the entire hour, but, you know, feel free to jot your questions in the chat box. Be more than happy to address them while I got them. Sometimes I feel that's a little better, a little easier to have kind of like an open conversation about certain questions that you may have. You kind of hit some of the agenda. I'm going to talk about Elevance Health. That is our parent company. Sometimes people have a lot of questions about that, sometimes very confused. So wanted to just kind of address that. You know, I think this year with a lot of the refiling, a lot of the question marks, I'm going to address some of that stuff too, but understanding what tools are available for your clients to make their experience with Anthem much better than other carriers that you have options of purchasing out there or offering to your customers. Also making sure broker tools, that's also important. We have a lot of the assets in place for you already. The question is, do you know they're there, and are you taking advantage of those? Some of the legislation updates, IRS updates, kind of go into some of the, you know, some of the refiling things that have occurred and so forth. Also some of the updates, and basically I'll throw a broker service slide in there, but also I think there's a great opportunity for ICRA, which we are very into the ICRA space as well. But let's just jump in. So not sure if if everybody's familiar with it, but about 3, maybe 4 years ago, the company Anthem was branded Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So if you wanted to go to the stock exchange and buy Anthem stocks, for example, you would look for Anthem. We rebranded, not we, I don't want to give myself that kind of credit. They rebranded the company as Elevance Health. So Elevance Health is now the parent name and the parent company, which underneath it has a assortment of different brands and companies underneath it. You can see number one would be with Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. We also offer WellPoint in a lot of different states. On top of that, AmeriGroup, Carelon, we have a lot of different assortment of companies under the underneath the Elevance Health umbrella. On top of that, you know, we are a Fortune 25 company. So therefore, we are really financially strong. We've been in the ACA space since the beginning. I've been here since the beginning, which makes it a lot more fun, makes it interesting, and so forth. We operate the Anthem brand in the 14 blue states that you have here: California, Nevada, Colorado, Missouri, Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, the great state of Georgia, that's where I'm located, Virginia, New York, Connecticut, New Hampshire, as well as in Maine. So I talk about the experience. You know, I know that in the open enrollment, things are really busy. Things are really fast. You have calls, selling. But understanding, you know, to take a few minutes and educate, or if you have a piece that you send them, send some of these in your client's member tools. I think it's important that if they know how to access some of the information themselves, therefore they're not necessarily bothering you for little stuff like ID cards. The first one is anthem.com. Members, once they get their ID cards or once they get a plan, they can go in here and register here at anthem.com under the member portal, which then of course they have access to ID cards. That's usually your first question of the year. Where's my ID card? They can also access any billing, claims, prescriptions, locate pharmacists, doctors. They can also do a Live Health Online visit, which is our virtual care through the internet that people in most carriers all have. It used to be exciting a few years ago. Now everybody has it, so it's not nearly as exciting. This is the one I would promote. This is the Sydney mobile app. If you have Anthem today and you're not utilizing this app, you're missing out. The same with any customers that you have with Anthem currently. The Sydney mobile app is what it is. It's an application that you download to your smartphone, your Apple phone, what's the other one out there? But you can download it to that one too. But basically, you have the mobile app. It has built-in AI, so people that are up at like 3 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out stuff, they can ask the questions within the AI on the app. Like, hey, where do I find the ID cards? I know it's right there, but or how do I find a primary care? How do I find a specialist? It will allow and do that work for your customer. Overall, it helps you find care. It also has a price comparison built in as well. You have your ID cards. Once you pull up your ID card, you can actually email it or fax it over to your provider. That's usually a question people get. Overall, you can do your virtual care visits, as we talked about, through the member portal. You can do it through your iPhone or your smartphone, tablet. You can do it while you're stuck in traffic, picking up your kids from daycare, on your way to work or from work. Sometimes going to the doctor is sometimes very time consuming, and people with busy lives sometimes don't have that time to do it. You can do it right through your phone. It's a very good app, a 4.8 star rating through the iOS Apple Store, which I think is pretty darn good. We have over 15 million users. This is the same mobile app that your commercial Anthem group members have. CEOs, vice presidents, they have access to the same mobile app as your customers. Take advantage of it. It is an awesome, super app. A lot of great tools within it. As you can see here, you can see some of the claims here that's available to you. Members can also have access to virtual care visits with a licensed therapist for stress, anxiety, depression, family issues, other health concerns. It's just a great mobile app, great access to care too, that people should be able to get to, especially in rural areas or people with busy lives. Now, talking to you as a broker, what tools are available to yourself? To get appointed with us, you got to create a producer toolbox. The producer toolbox is a one place to go for everything. We'll talk a little bit about that in the next slide. We house all of our marketing material as well as information on the Sydney mobile app, information about the producer toolbox, everything that you could imagine about a state or plans within a state are here at the Anthem Broker Hub. And of course, really promoting the Broker Plus mobile app this year, which I think is going to be great. But we'll talk about those here in the next slides. But so at anthem.com, you click on brokers, log in as a producer. You really have everything you need right here to really service your clients. First thing is ID cards. If you're an agent that sends out ID cards once they're available, hey, they're right here in the producer toolbox for you to download, email to your client. That's great. Also, books of business reports, renewal reports, billing reports. This year is going to be a little different with the 150% qualifying event for people under 150% of the qualifying event or under the federal poverty level. That qualifying event is going to be gone for this year. So you want to make sure you maintain your clients. Check that billing report for people that do have a premium, small or large. making sure that they get those things paid on time, making sure that you help them in a system, getting them set up on auto draft. Also, members that are aging off their parents' plans or turning into Medicare. Get yourself a calendar reminder to go out there and pull those reports, not just with Anthem, but for all your carrier partners that you work with, to make sure that you're retaining that business, either in the ACA space or into the Medicare space. We also have a producer assistant chat within the mobile app, which is also great. A lot of great stuff. You can have a conversation. You can also download and save that conversation for future needs. But a lot of great assets for you as agents. Just checking to make sure I didn't miss any questions so far. Sorry about that. Moving a lot along. I'm trying. Here we go. Yeah, so right here, the anthembrokerhub.com. You see the QR code here. You can take a picture of it if you like. But the website is the anthembrokerhub.com. This is where we house all of our Anthem branded marketing material. There's a lot of different ways to filter out what you're looking for based on state, based on product line. You may see group material out there, but if you're looking just for individual and you're only looking for a particular state, you can click on those two functions and it will just give you that information. There's a lot of great stuff out there, but we don't house this on the producer toolbox. This is here at the Anthem Broker Hub. It doesn't require a password, login or password or anything like that. It's basically out there for you guys to go out there and grab anything you want. Under quick links, you will, well, that may be a little old of a screenshot, but that's also where you can find information on the Broker Plus app. The Broker Plus app is basically the producer toolbox right there on your phone. Why is that important? Let's face it. Your clients are going to call you throughout the week. They don't really care about what time they're going to call you because they need something. You're their person. So if you're, golfing or out on the lake or vacation, maybe you're just stuck in traffic, seeing a client and someone needs access to their ID cards, being able to pull it up right there on your phone, doing a screenshot, texting it to somebody, man, that goes a long ways in terms of building a rapport, building relationships with your client base. This is also a way to get timely news alerts to keep you kind of informed of what's going on in the market. In some cases, maybe it's just an update, news article, whatnot. You can take a couple minutes, see if that's appealing or applicable to you. If not, delete it, but at least you stay informed with the current events of what Anthem is trying to get in front of you. Like last year, we do have incentives. We definitely encourage a healthy individual that comes to Anthem. So we do try to provide, we definitely encourage individuals that signed up with Anthem to do a wellness exam or a well woman exam within the first 120 days of the plan. Individuals that get that done qualify for a $50 gift card. They can go through the Sydney mobile app and try to figure out, and find, again, maybe if they can't figure it out, they can ask the AI, how do I find my wellness exam, or how do I get my wellness reward? Any of that kind of stuff, that AI would then walk your client through it. But 120 days, get that physical well woman exam, qualify for a $50 gift card of their choice. There's also a digital health assessment, which, they can complete that online too through the Sydney mobile app, and they can qualify for another $25, which is a total of $75. Not too bad, easy, low hanging fruit for people that want to really, take advantage of that. So make sure you share that. All right, so let's talk about some of the legislation IRS updates. And I'll kind of skim through this because some of this stuff might be a little boring, but want to make sure everybody's informed. So one of the federal legislation updates was about the No Surprise Act for out-of-network non-emergency ambulance limits. So it lists there that any plan includes a $50,000 limit. We'll clarify that it does not apply to air ambulance services. While we can keep the limit for ground and water ambulance services when allowed by state law. We must remove it from air ambulance services. That's a federal mandate. Also, the federal mental health parity and autism services. Autism was treated as a mental benefit rather than a mental health. Now autism will be defined as a mental health, and age limits on autism services have been and will be removed from our plans. So let's look next at the contract updates about federal mental health parity payments and therapy services. When a primary diagnosis on therapy claims like a physical, occupational, speech, or conjugate rehab is mental health or substance abuse, claims will be covered under the mental health and substance abuse disorder benefit. Next, the preventative care for chronic conditions update will provide a chart of items allowed by the IRS for pre-deductible coverage instead of linking them to the IRS website, which is fun. It's out of date. So that's great. So let's talk about some of these updated preventative services. You can see Anthem's coverage expansion for breast and cervical cancer screenings effective 1/1. You can see that we did enhanced breast cancer imaging services. You can see that. I don't want to read those line for line for you guys. We also do introduction to patient navigation services. It talks about facilities, breast and cervical cancer screenings, and reducing the barriers allowed, and also compliance on regulation updates, which aligns with the HRSA guidelines approved back in December of 2024. Also, MRI and ultrasound services now qualify for pre-deductible coverage in the high deductible health plans. So a lot of great stuff there. All right, my screen is stuck. You see that's not good. Oh, that's really not good. Hold on one second, Nick. It's always, Nick, are you able to still hear me?
I hear you, but yeah, the screen is black.
Yeah, my computer just shut it all down. I'm just glad I didn't lose you. I'm going to open it right back up. I'm in the process of doing that right now.
Cool. No problem.
No, it kind of sucks.
We're only as good as the technology they give us, right?
I've never actually had it crash like that before. Let me see here. Does anybody have any questions? Let me see here. I guess the playlist is talking about you. Yeah. So HCSC, Blue Cross Blue Shield of State, Anthem Blue Cross, are they separate entities? Any tips in keeping them organized? Well, that's a great question. I know that's very difficult. So there are about 30, 35, 38 separate Blue Cross Blue Shield companies across the country. And we are all part of the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association. That's what gives us the ability to use the Blue Cross brand. The best thing to do is, it's a great question. I wish I had a cheat sheet on how to maybe organize that, but I don't. I sometimes get jammed up on it myself. But I think that the good thing is we don't compete with each other within state lines. So we're in our 14 states. HCSC is in Texas, Oklahoma, Montana, Illinois, I think. But overall, we require our own appointment, and I'm sure HCSC requires theirs as well. So I see another question here. Let me see here. My screen is back. So one of the questions is, one of my clients is looking to leave her Anthem Blue Cross as she heard doctors aren't getting paid, and she's scared that she will lose her doctors. Do you have any ideas of how we would address these concerns? You know, we pay our doctors. You know, we have negotiated rates with our doctors. We have contracts in place. So I don't see why we would not pay a provider, pay a doctor. We have strict rules on how quickly we need to process particular claims that come in. If a doctor is not getting paid, it's usually because the claim that they filed may have an issue. And I'm not a claims expert, but that's usually when I get involved with claims types, problems, claims issues. It's usually because either they're filing it incorrectly, using an incorrect type of claim code. You know, as you mentioned, or the last question there was about the different Blue Cross Blue Shield companies. Maybe they filed it to the wrong address. So I would always, you know, encourage a couple of extra steps, making sure that the provider is reviewing both the front of the ID card, but also the back. The back actually has the address, phone numbers, and so forth to our provider team to make sure people are filing claims correctly. I hope that kind of answered your question, but no, we do a very good job of making sure that these providers are being compensated for their time. That's, you know, outside of the benefits of the plan, our network is another thing that makes us super strong as a company. So not paying doctors, that's not a way for us to continue to grow as an organization. So I'm sorry to hear that. I'd like, you know, if there's something I can do to look into it, you know, send it up to Nicholas and I'll take a look at it when I get, take a look at it and see what I can help you out with. So I'm back here talking about some of the out-of-pocket max limits. So on your traditional copay type plans, the out-of-pocket max now is at $10,600 for individuals. It doubles to $21,200 for families. On your HSA plans, which is new this year, we now are able to offer bronze HSA plans if you have people interested in that. And of course, you can see the out-of-pocket max on those is $8,500. All right. Okay. I thought I was having an issue again. And so I think you probably have seen there's a lot of conversations out there about what's been going on from an industry level, from, you know, the refilings to the enhanced tax credits to what's going on with some of the catastrophic plans. So I thought this would be a kind of a good time to bring a little bit of that to this conversation, just to maybe bring you kind of up to speed, or hopefully maybe give you a little bit of education as you know, you have conversations with your clients come open enrollment. You can throw some of that at them just to let them know and encourage them to know, hey, you are the person they need to contact for health insurance benefits. So one of the first things is talking about the enhanced tax credits. What is that impact going to look like? And if my screen will move forward, this is horrible. Here we go. So let's talk about some of the impacts to the enhanced tax credits. I'm not sure if other carriers are showing this, but I think this is important. You can also go to the Kaiser Family Foundation, maybe look for how much people would pay in premiums. You could probably Google that and it'll pop right up. But, you know, if you've been in this ACA business for the last couple of years, you probably have seen that, you know, pretty good price points, pretty good everything, especially when it comes to some of the silver plans, people that fall between, you know, $16,000 to $23,000 a year that are under that 150% of the federal poverty level, especially if those are individuals that are high utilizers of insurance or high utilizers of healthcare benefits. Those people were able to get one of those cost share reduction plans. Those are, of course, those really rich kind of plans with either very low premium or zero premium, low deductibles, low copays, low out of pocket. And someone who made 23 grand, and keep in mind, these numbers may vary depending on state, depending on if they expanded the Medicaid levels in that state. So basically use this as just a general idea or thought process. Without the enhanced tax credits for this type of individual, you can see that their premiums will go from $0 to around $30 to as high as around $77 to $80 a month. Now that make sense for somebody who's a high utilizer, but that's still a huge impact for somebody that making around $15,000 to $20,000 a year. But if they're a high utilizer of health benefits, that may still make more sense than to putting them on a $0 bronze plan, because those bronze plans are going to have higher deductibles, higher out of pockets, but more importantly, higher copays. So it's going to be very more difficult for those people to go and access care. People that are high utilizers are going to pay that premium. They're going to understand the importance of why they need to pay that premium. And as you can see down here, this is a percentage of their income. Last year, the big one here is that cliff. People over or close around that 300 to 400% and beyond, they're going to qualify for very little subsidies. If not over 400%, those guys are going to get a shock. So hopefully our government will come together, come to a resolution, and expend these subsidies. So we won't have these very difficult conversations with our clients come open enrollment. One of the reasons too, there we go. So also there was a part of the rulings was about going to expand the actuarial value on some of our silver plans for 2026. And of course, that was something that the court, I think it was out of Maryland, filed a court appeal saying you can't do that. Long story short, the court was supposed to make a final ruling back in September 19th. Overall, the guidance came out of CMS basically saying, we're not able to do the expanded actuarial values this year. So basically refile your plans with the original actuarial value. Now keep in mind, I use actuarial value as a term to basically is how much the insurance company is looking to cover in terms of your healthcare benefits. So if you think about expanding it down to 66% versus 70%, people could then maybe get a little bit better plan at a lower price point, I think was the idea, but that did not go through. So overall, us as insurance carriers have refiled some of those ratings. Some of these refilings are causing delays in renewals as well, not just with Anthem, but with other carriers. So make sure you are aware of that. Also, you may have heard some of the catastrophic plans, and they're going to be available to everybody now. I guess the government thought, hey, these plans are 20% cheaper than most other plans on the marketplace. Well, they were underwritten for people under the age of 30 and or individuals that had financial hardship. Now that they're available to everybody, carriers that like ourselves that offer catastrophic plans had to refile those to make sure they're priced appropriately. Now, keep in mind, they still have to, people over the age of 30 still need to apply for that hardship exemption. I think the government is in CMS is talking about streamlining it, making it a little bit faster. But these are plans that are not available for tax credits. These are ineligible for APTC or cost share reduction. So catastrophic plans, no tax credits whatsoever. But if you think about it, these might be decent products for people that are, that 300-400%, that cliff that we were just talking about. So maybe not necessarily write them off. They're going to be cheaper than some of the bronze plans. I think they're around 5 to 10% lower cost than our bronze, which may still be a great benefit option for people that are looking for essential health benefits. Also, somebody looking for preventative care with no cost. Talking about some of the updates and changes, feel free to take a look at that, take a screenshot of that. Some of the big ones that I like to announce. One, you guys have always done really good in the state of Georgia. All of Georgia plans, we had the Blue Value plan, we had the Pathway plans in the state of Georgia. Some of them were the Blue Value, and some of the, I think it was guided access plans in Georgia were gatekeeper plans, meaning the member had to go get a referral to access and go to see a specialist. Those have all been taken away. All the plans in Georgia are open access. We are exiting rating region 16, that Clark, Crawford, Floyd, Harrison, Jefferson, Scott, and Washington in Indiana. Maine has a new preferred plus PPO plan. We're expanding in parts of Missouri. I think that's a lower rating region 7 has the lower 4 counties on the far right of the map. You can find those maps at the Anthem Broker Hub. Nevada, if you settle in the state of Nevada, you probably live in Nevada. Nevada has come out with a new state public option. It's called the Battle-Born plans. Now, I say this because if you're selling in Nevada, those Battle-Born plans will have the Blue Cross Blue Shield logo out there. Do not sell those. They are not commissionable. Battle-Born Blue Cross plans are not commissionable in the state of Nevada. Also, in the state of New Hampshire, catastrophic plans are not commissionable. Want to make sure you guys understand that. I'm pushing that. I don't want you guys selling those. You also will see some off-exchange EPO plans being mapped over to HMOs. People, if you have individuals on off-exchange EPO plans, they'll get a discontinuing letter, but they'll also be getting a renewal letter in the mail as well. The state of Wisconsin's got a lot of stuff going on. I'm still waiting to get all that finalized. But there's going to be some reduction in some of the blue preferred POS plans. There's going to be some people getting moved over to the blue priority HMO. And on top of that, we're adding some counties there with the pathway HMO there in Wisconsin. The biggest thing here, as I mentioned before, the broker tools. Go into your producer toolbox and check those renewal reports. If you go in there, log in, it's resources and tools, which is up on the top. You click on that, hit reports, and you'll be able to pull your client report. You'll be able to pull your renewal report, etc. The renewal report will give you your client's name, the plan they're on, their subsidy amount, the amount they're going to be charged. Now, keep in mind that those rates may not be accurate because we're not necessarily sure the benchmark plan on the exchange. The point is if you go out there and you do not see a new plan being suggested or mapped, those plans might be gone completely. That's a customer that you want to flag, reach out to, and at least discuss new options for them for 2026. Make sure you take a screenshot of the broker support. I feel like we have a great broker support team. They're all here within the continental United States. All have access and complete, finish, fix, get to the right department. 99% of all things that go on in this industry, that 1% will end up on my desk and I'll handle it personally. So you have the great support here at Anthem to get issues, problems resolved. If you can't call, email, they'll be there available to you guys. As I mentioned, the under 150% of the federal poverty level SEP for next year will be gone. What are we going to do? You know, I guess there's dental, vision, Medicare, there's group product. But for individuals like yourself that focus a little bit more time on the individual market, ICHRA is in the individual coverage. HRA is probably a good alternative. These are alternative to traditional group plans. Man, Nick, I'm sorry, man. I'm clicking on the thing and oh, there it goes. This is an alternative to your group plans, but it also gives more of an employer's option to set a budget. You know, today in the group world, employers, you know, one, they pick a couple of plans depending on the size of the group, and then the employer typically will pay a percentage of that premium. The employees have a limited number of plans to pick because that's something you and the employer decided for them, but it's high risk for the employer. Why is that? If the employer gets a 60% rate increase at renewal time, the employer's premium and contribution amount also goes up. But we're in the ICRA defined contribution. Well, number one, the employee gets to go out and pick whatever plan they want. The employer sets a budget. Maybe it's $700. Maybe it's $1,000. That employer picks a budget for that employee. The employee goes out there and picks whatever they want that fits their family's needs, benefits, network, pharmacy, just like they would do like on the marketplace. And it's low risk for the employer. So now if I get a 50% or a 40% rate increase, well, I take that budget, go back to the market and find something that is a little bit more affordable. I just wanted to skim that over, Nick, just to let you know, if ICRA comes up in conversation and you guys want some additional training, I'll be more than happy to schedule that with you. But there's a lot of great opportunities out there with ICRA. I think that this year and this open enrollment, I know there might be some people with some anxiety going on with some rate increases. I wouldn't worry about it a whole lot. Those increases are going to be, a lot of them are going to be offset with subsidies. And hopefully, like I mentioned before, hopefully our government will come together and do what's right. And to me, I feel that is expanding the tax credits for the American people. Any questions out there? We're going to just go on a rampage.
Nah, you did great, Mark. You did great. Let me see. I'm not seeing any Q&A questions in here, so I think you did amazing, man. Oh, here we go. Do you have to be able to sell group to sell ICRA?
No. Well, no. So keep in mind, ICRA is a individual plan. So it's understanding ICRA, where you can go to an employer and say, "Hey, Nick, I see you're not offering benefits to your employees, or maybe you are. What do you like about it? What don't you like about it?" And I can tell you right now, you're not going to like that. I don't know. I'm just going to make some up. You're an electrician, you're a plumber, you're whatever. That's what you want to do. And one of the biggest stresses of your life is trying to pick the right carrier that fits your budget, that also meets the needs and the network needs of your employees and your employees' dependents, spouses, children. With an ICRA, you can go in there and say, well, with an ICRA, we'll put them on an individual plan. You set your budget, and that you know how much you're going to spend. A lot of people, what we're seeing right now, a lot of what we're getting in terms of the ICRA space are virgin groups, meaning people that don't offer group benefits at all. And so being able to offer something that fits within their employer budget just makes sense. And, we can do extra training. Nick, just, I guess, reach out to your folks there and we can schedule that. We can probably would make sense, maybe do it after open enrollment to give maybe some opportunity to go out there and start knocking on doors and generating some new business, because going to an ICRA is a qualifying event.
Oh, that's actually good information there.
Yeah.
And then
go ahead.
Yeah, you got it. No, you got it. You're
okay.
reading it. You got it.
I saw the next question here. Are you required to partner with a third-party administrator for ICRAs? And so, well, I thought I had that slide in here. I would say probably yes. And here's why. Because in an ICRA space, I would say it's kind of like a modified list bill. In a list bill definition, you have 10 employee group, all 10 people are on the list bill with Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. In the ICRA, you may have those 10 employees with 4 or 5 different insurance companies. And what that administrator does, or that third-party administrator does, is that they work with the employer to be able to capture that premium dollars and then distribute each of those premium dollars into each of the employees' HRA or credit card, debit card. So that way, when Anthem decides to set auto draft, we're pulling the correct amount of money out of there. If on top of that, it's making sure that the ICRA administrator or the broker is monitoring those to make sure that if the carrier, maybe it's Anthem, maybe it's another carrier, for some reason turns off that auto draft, that you catch it and turn it back on. So that way, that individual, that client isn't lapsing coverage. Because I tell you, in the ACA world, off exchange, no subsidies, those grace periods are only 30 days. Where on the marketplace where they get a subsidy is 90. So there's not a lot of room to wiggle. And so if you're new getting into the ICRA space, I would highly encourage to use all the help you can get. And part of that would be with a third party administrator.
Cool. That looks like all the questions we have, Mark. So we just really appreciate you taking time out today to come over and talk to us. Obviously, we're excited. It's a lot of movement going on this year in the industry. So change is good sometimes not. But it's going to be an exciting open enrollment here. So we really appreciate you taking your time out with us.
Not a problem, guys. And like I said, Nick, if any questions come up, feel free to email those to me directly. And I think this will be a great open enrollment, and we're looking forward to it. I think Todd mentioned something too. We're also working on our commissions. I think our commissions aren't going to really change a whole lot besides some of those products that I mentioned that are not going to be commissionable. But our goal is to come out with a very competitive bonus program that will be available to you. And I think one of the key things that we do here at Anthem is when we come out with a bonus program, it's year round. It's not for a short period of time. And I think that's one of the differentials for us, making sure you guys continue to offer Anthem during open enrollment and outside of open enrollment, to make sure you capitalize on some of those bonus dollars available.
Definitely. And everybody's kind of waiting, like you said. I mean, it's you guys, it's United, it's everybody. Everybody's kind of waiting on those numbers because everyone's kind of waiting to see, what the final decision is on what's happening here, right? So,
yep.
Fun industry we're in with that.
All right.
Well, again, Mark, thank you so much for taking your time out. For everybody else at HST. We're back tomorrow morning. We're going to start an hour later. That'll be actually 11 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. Again, Mark, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, guys, everybody. Y'all have a good one. Talk to you soon.
Take care. That is the end for today, guys. Thank you for attending. And then we will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time. Have a great rest of your day.